This session will provide us with an opportunity to learn from the experiences of employers, supervisors, and employees of Sacramento City College's Department of Science and Allied Health, Havens Court Garage, Taft College, and North Fitness, which is in Yuba City. Mr. Ramon Aguila was intent on closing his garage, Havens Court Garage in Oakland, but last evening there was a break-in at his garage. And unfortunately, he is with the authorities documenting what's necessary for the reports, and so he is not here, but he was fully intent on closing his business for half of the day so that he could sit as a panelist for us. Nevertheless, Mr. Lawrence Silva, which he is really known, I guess it's an alias. He goes by, you know, the term Godfather? He is called the Job Father, J-O-B Father. To get us started, we're going to do introductions, and I'm going to have the panelists to introduce themselves to you, because really we want to hear more talking from them than you hear from me. However, just to help the discussion a little bit, I will be asking some questions. If we are able to work through this expeditiously, that means if we get through all the questions I have, there are about 3 rounds, then the 4th round belongs to you. And you can ask some hopefully good and stimulating questions. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on my right, and I'm going to ask if, for introductions, if you do so. So please tell us who you are and your role.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here. My name is Jim Collins. I'm the Dean of Science and Allied Health at Sacramento City College.
My name is Martha Goff. I'm the Science Office Clerk at Sacramento City College.
Hi, my name is Colleen Cox, and I'm a second-year occupational therapy assistant student at Sacramento City College.
Hi, my name is Stuart James Finstad, and I work at Northside Fitness as a custodian club.
And I'm Jeff Ross. I'm the Director of Student Sports Services at Taft College.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Silva. I'm the Employment Program Coordinator at the College of Alameda Workability 3 program and C2C program.
Hi, I'm Marco Salas. I'm as a automotive mechanics in Havens Court Garage, and I was at the Gene Workshop.
To get us started, Mr. Silva, that's Job Father, was kind enough to put together some slides he would like to walk us through.
Okay, we put a little PowerPoint presentation about Havens Court Garage and the different roles each person played in the success of Marcos. So we titled it Developing a Successful Career in the Automotive Industry Through Job Placement and Training, a partnership with the State of California Department of Rehabilitation, College of Alameda, and local employer. This is Havens Court Garage. Their motto is rattle in, glide out. And that's the front of the garage on Foothill Boulevard in Oakland. That's the inside of the garage. They work on all types of cars and models, both older cars and classic cars. The garage offers all types of repairs, include maintenance, diagnosis, and complete rebuilding of engines, transmissions, and electrical systems. Havens Court Garage specializes in the restoration of classic cars and has the capability to service new automobiles. There's Marcos. He was a client of the Department of Rehab and the College of Alameda Workability 3 program. He started out as a mechanic's helper, where he assists the owner with all types of vehicle repair. He's gained solid skills, and he continues to receive training from his supervisor, Ramon, and now he's a full-fledged mechanic there. That's Ramon. He really wanted to be here today, but he couldn't make it. He's owned the garage since 2001. He's expanded the business. He's purchased the building next door. And he also has a son who is autistic, and he's employed different individuals from the Department of Rehabilitation in our program. There's Marcos performing a maintenance check on a newer Chevy truck. He's responsible for the oil changes, the inspections. He does front-end brakes, tune-ups, and assists with rebuilding engines and transmissions. There's myself and Marcos. I do a little job coaching for Marcos and monitor him on a regular basis to make sure he's successful. Marcos has gained a lot of confidence, and now he's able to work independently, and you can see right here he's doing some pretty interesting automotive repairs. The State Department of Rehabilitation was very an important role in Marcos' success. They helped purchase those tools there, his work clothes, and we did an on-the-job training agreement where the employer was reimbursed to train Marcos on the job for 6 months. This allowed Marcos to gain the skills he needed and receive some good training under Ramon so that Ramon could take more time with him. There's Ramon overseeing Marcos as he inspects a vehicle. Ramon continues to provide Marcos with training and monitor his progress, and we maintain communication on a weekly basis. And there's us communicating to each other and discussing his progress. We always talk and make sure that Marcos is doing well, and then if there's a situation, I'll come over and support Marcos. And there's all three of us striking a pose. And it's a real positive atmosphere, and Marcos is doing real well, and all of us play the same equal part to his success to make it a really great work placement for him.
So I guess I'll begin the questions. I'll start with Dean Collins. Could you tell us a little bit about your unit so that we understand a little bit about your division within the college? And then perhaps if you can tell us some of your concerns that you think about when you're hiring anyone within your unit. And then more specifically, could you tell us some things, give us some tangibles, some specifics about the skill sets that are required to perform the kind of work that Martha does?
Great, we'll do that. The Science and Allied Health Division consists of about 68 full-time and part-time faculty. That is, so about 130 teaching faculty, about half full-time and about half part-time. We run from about 7 a.m. in the morning till 10:45 at night, 5 days a week, and then of course we have some Saturday classes as well. We work also at 2 different outreach centers. So we work on the main campus, and then we also have classes given at the UC Davis site for Sacramento City College. We also work in West Sacramento. So we are a very large number of people and quietly dispersed around the region. We offer about 150 different classes in the 2 buildings on the main campus primarily, and also the buildings at the Sac City Center at UC Davis and in West Sacramento. So that's a fairly large enterprise. We manage numerous programs that receive categorical funding from various sources. Also. Other funding sources, not just the state, but so we manage a number of different projects within the division as well as our regular classes. So very dynamic, changing, varied environment. Very demanding on the personnel who work there, especially with the downturn in the economy and the limitations on funding. Those pressures have been mounting and continue to mount, in particular on our classified staff. And we all feel that in our teaching and in our other administrative duties. When I think of hiring, the very few times we can nowadays, I just write down several different words here that I'd like to talk to you about. Flexibility. Your day is never the same, never what you think it's going to be that day. Martha's day, my day will change at a moment's notice. Self-management. We have a very flat organization. I'm the head of the department, and I work directly with the classified staff. There's nobody between me and the classified staff at all. So self-management is extremely important. Also, it's important to be self-motivated. There just isn't the time to spend with the classifieds to, motivate them on a daily basis to their tasks. We really rely on their personal skills in that regard. Reflective. It's very important that the employees that I work with can think about what they do critically, evaluate their performance, and consider and come up with different ways of doing what they do. Because again, we are very limited resources. We have to be creative in how we handle things. And finally, innovative. It's very important that I hire folks that are interested in innovating, because I'm very interested in innovating. We do a lot of work on redesigning and redefining our tasks and the processes around those tasks. Again, very dynamic environment. In terms of Martha's duties, they are varied. The thing that comes to mind first and foremost is scheduling classes. That involves probably 6 or 7 different data streams into the process and numerous reports out of that process. And those reports are generated all throughout the year, and we monitor them very closely, especially when the teaching positions are being squeezed along with the classified staff. So we really need to keep track of our folks as they proceed in their teaching duties. She works on book orderings. She works on mail distribution. She works on managing rooms as various events come and go. And I'm sure she can tell you more about many other things she does. The other thing she does is that she works with me on processes. Martha is she's a marvel at rethinking processes, which is wonderful. So we can talk a little bit more about that later on, I think, but that's the general outline of your duties. Is it? Okay, good.
And Martha, you're not going to slide on this one? In your own voice, do please tell us what your job is.
Well, as my supervisors just said, a very large chunk of my position does consist of managing the scheduling and all of the things that come out of it. When you look at a class schedule online for Sacramento City College, you see the components are the teachers, the rooms, the days, the times, the textbooks. All of that has to be pulled together, like Jim said, out of a multiplicity of data streams. So that takes a very large piece of my desk time and psychic energy. One task that didn't get mentioned by Jim was another thing I also handle is the student employment. We employ a lot of temporary employees, work-study students and student help, and I process all their paperwork and manage their timesheets. One duty that I take very seriously that probably isn't written on my job description, but that gives me a lot of fulfillment, is providing support, both tangible and intangible, to the faculty and to the dean. I've been working with them for a number of years now, and I come to see them almost as a family. And not only do they take care of me, but I try and take care of them, and that environment is very nurturing to me, and in return I do my best to nurture them and break up their day with stupid jokes and things like that. And I appreciate the fact that they feel that they can come to me with their questions and not feel that they're imposing on me or that they're intimidated or something like that.
Thank you so much. Killeen, you and Ada Boone Hurl provide supports and work with Martha. Is there anything that you'd like to share in ways that you work together?
Yeah. First of all, I'm working with, Martha and I are working together. This is my level 1 field work. And so it's it is at a very exploratory stage right now. It's, we are working together to excuse me, sorry, having a, we're working together to see what we can do to just facilitate a more functional environment for Martha to work in. As Jim said, there are many variables to her day, to her week. Things change. There are things we have control of and things we don't. We're working on organization. But we're also working on what we could do to accommodate and modify her sensory environment, which just, helps everything, because sensory input is something that really affects Martha's day and function. And, it's pretty amazing to explore. And, I'm learning so much from her, and I'm just thrilled to be a part of this, to see how modifying sensory environment can completely change and ease your function. So I just appreciate being here, so thanks.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ross, it's my understanding that Derek came to Taft College, and upon completing 2 years of study, he moved to Yuba City community and is working and lives independently. Would you say that there are skills that he learned at Taft College that assisted him in the work that he currently does?
Well, yeah, we'll take credit for that. No.
What are some of those skills
Yes,
that
exactly.
he developed over time?
Actually, in the TAF program, all of our students, both years you're there, you work 8 hours in paid student employment as an intern in different areas. And so Derek went through that internship. Now, Derek actually graduated from our program in the year 2000. So he's been out living independently and working since that time. And so it's, to me, seeing one of our alumnus that, are still in the job market and has a great work ethic and the diligence to remain independent, it's quite awesome. And so, but I do think that the program, the internship that we have in the transition to independent living program really did prepare Derek and the rest of our students to be successful when they exit the program.
You may notice in the breakout sessions a little bit later on, we're going to focus some more attention on how internships could lead to employment. And Jeff Ross will be covering that breakout with his team from Taft College. Derek, it's your turn in the spotlight. So I want to find out from you, Derek, what is your job? What do you do?
I work at Northside Fitness. It's in Yuba City, California. I am a custodian worker, and I wash weight machines and
Too many things to remember, huh? Lots of things.
I do different other things every day. It's fun.
How long have you been working there now?
I've been working there for 3 years.
Excellent.
It's
Do you like the people that you work with? Are they
yes,
interesting
I
people?
enjoy the people I work with. They enjoy me, and I enjoy them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So when Mr. Aguila took over the Havens Court garage, I would imagine that he felt a weight on his shoulder in terms of supporting that community, in terms of the auto repairs and everything else that were needed. Could you speak, Mr. Silva, to what he was looking for when he hired Marcos?
Yeah, the garage is very busy. They have a big contract with paratransit vans. So these vans, there's quite a few of them, and they can break down on any given day. And at that time, Mr. Aguila has to go out, and he needed someone that could work independently because people are coming in at all times of the day with problems with their car. So he was looking for someone that had a background in mechanics, but that could also work independently and handle certain situations. Also, they work on all different types of cars. They specialize in remodeling classic cars. So he wanted someone that was knowledgeable in that area also.
us in your own voice what your job is. What do you do?
I'm an automotive mechanics. I do oil changes, rebuild transmissions, tune-up, and preventive maintenance and brakes.
That sounds pretty nifty to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to drive my car in right now. Trust me, it could
right.
use some work.
It'll glide out.
So I'm not going to decide on this next round of questions who goes first, but this one is for the employers or supervisors. And here's the question. I first want to know if you would agree with me that some level of skills training or some specific work habits are necessary for the job that the employee sitting next to you carries out. And I want you to speak to those specific work skills or vocational training that were necessary for them to be able to do that job, and what work habits are good work habits for the job that they do now, in any order.
Well, for Marcos's job, you have to have some automotive knowledge. Marcos graduated from a vocational program in El Paso, Texas. Then he did an internship at a Mercedes dealership. And then he also worked at an automotive mobile repair company. So he had some basic automotive skills, and that's what Ramon was really looking for. But what's really important is being reliable and dependable and on time in this industry. Marcos never misses a day. He's always on time, and he's willing to stay overtime, because sometimes when the cars are really backed up, you have to put that little extra overtime in so the cars can move. You know, it's like a production line there. They can only put so many cars in the stall. So he also has to organize his time and be able to figure out what the most important job is. You know, what car can he fix and get it out so they can bring a new car in. And Marcos does a great job doing that.
I think at the Taft program, the work ethic is we have these students there for 2 years, and so you're really working on work ethic first, and that is those soft skills like you just talked about. But then what we're doing now is that we are also looking at certifications in different industries and working towards certification. But the other thing we're doing is real life stuff too. Is like, our students in the program now are working really bizarre schedules. They're working nights, they're working weekends, and to prepare the students for where the jobs are. And a lot of our students just want to leave Taft College and get that job that starts 9 in the morning and go to 2. Well, in the perfect world, I'd like that too. But so we're really looking at a variety of situations to prepare our students for those jobs, and especially in the market that we have right now. The hard skills, the skill sets. Some of our students really come in and they already know what they want to do, so we can try to hook them up with some sort of a job experience in the 2 years they're there. A lot of our students, like other college students, don't really know what they want. And so, but I think that the work skills and the ethic is what we really focus in on.
Well, one of the major things that Martha is involved in is data processing, word processing, and in a very complex environment. And part of that work is working with me, designing the sources of data that she'll be using, the manner in which she would be formatting that data, and then the ways that she would distribute that information. And she participates in that process with me directly. Communication skills, really very important, essential in what she does, and you can tell that she loves to communicate, so she's a marvel at that. I think the other specific skill is a planning skill, which is a very complicated process, looking at the past, looking at the present resources, and projecting out in the future in fairly abstract ways. And that's something that she excels at as well. Work habits, I think, are important, of course. I've mentioned several of them already. I think self-reflective is really an essential part of that skill set, because you have to continuously evaluate how you're doing and how you can change it and improve that. So I think those would be the primary ones.
Causes me to wonder, how does one train to be able to perform that kind of work? Martha, what did you do to train, or how were you able to bring all those skills together to be able to do that job on a daily basis?
Well, I didn't take a specific training course, but I've had a varied career in a lot of different kinds of office work. And as I got hired onto the college and learned, worked through different positions in the college, I was able to pick up the skills as I went along. And as I mentioned, Sacramento City College is a pretty unique employer in my experience, because since it's a learning environment, the learning environment also applies to its employees, and the atmosphere seems to be one of encouraging you to grow on your job and giving you the skills you need in a compassionate and kind manner, rather than telling you what a moron you are because you don't already know how to do it. So I would say it's mainly on-the-job training, and as I mentioned before, the atmosphere and the spirit in which the training and the support and the guidance are offered are really huge in my success.
Sounds lovely. If you'd pass the mic over to Derek. What prepared you to do the work that you do now? It could be anything that you learned at Taft College. It could be how you learned your job once you walked in the door on the first day. What are some of the things that you think taught you the job you do?
It's basically when I walked in the door, the skills I do, that I came in the workplace at Northside Fitness. I picked up customer service skills, that I work with people. Well, everybody works with people in the club. We have a great, fantastic staff at Northside. We get along. The skills I picked up was cleaning skills that I didn't know about till I started working there. And my boss taught me how to clean what places to clean and see what machines had to be done. That's how I picked up the skills.
Very good. And Marcus, I believe you took a trip to Texas at one point in time. Why did you go over to Texas, and what did you learn there? Tell us a little bit about your training for the work you do now.
As an automotive training, I learned basic stuff in automotives, like tune-up and engine performance, brakes, and transmissions. And then I was in the internship at Mercedes-Benz for a while to learn like computers and other technologies that is out there, including in the market, plus the unknown like hybrids and diesels. And I came to California to have a job over there in California and learn basic skills. The owner of the shop taught what to do, what do I have to do. And any job requires patience. What you're doing and what you have to do, and certain skills in one vehicle.
So I'm just wondering, because I really don't know the answer to this question. Do you take a lot of notes? Like, how do you remember one car versus another one? Do you keep it all up here, or are you taking a lot of notes as you learn the differences between one vehicle and one brake system or one exhaust system? I'm really clueless about this.
Sure.
Yes, you take notes, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But tell us some more. How long was the training program in Texas?
About 15 months.
Okay. And are you a Texan? Is that where you originally?
That's right.
Yeah? Okay, perfect. And is there something you want to add, Mr. Silva?
Earlier, Marcos talked about Gene's class. He went to a 6-day job-seeking skills workshop at the College of Alameda, where he learned a lot of job search skills. And he also learned other skills too, soft skills that would help, that he could transfer to the job. And he learned how to interview. We did a mock interview on a video, and that helped him when he went out to the job to gain confidence. And actually, when he applied, the employer was very impressed with his interview.
Thank you so much. So my final round of questions for you really more had to do with on-the-job training, but I think you really have sort of addressed it sufficiently. Killeen, is there anything that you want to add about on-the-job training or how you see the environment providing more knowledge or skills necessary for doing the job on a day-to-day basis?
Can you ask me the question again?
Sure.
Another way.
On-the-job training, I assume, for the work that Martha is doing, is something that she is adding to, I guess, on a daily basis. Is there anything you want to add for what the teaching and learning experience is like on a daily basis?
Okay. Well, if I'm understanding you right, I came in and Martha is a really skilled employee, and so the work that I'm doing with her is basically she's trying to modify the environment surrounding her, and we're kind of jumping in this together. So
I'd imagine there's somewhat of an exchange between the employer and the employee that you're really learning and figuring things out together as
oh, yes. Yeah. I wish Ada were here. Ada, with her 20 years experience sitting here, would be able to just really, give you a lot of information, I think.
Let me give you my perspective on that. One of the things that I realized right away was that I had no understanding of how to deal with Martha's issues. So I was fortunate to have people like Ada Hurl around to talk to me about it. And also, I think that there was enough trust between Martha and me to have candid conversations about what I was doing that was interfering with her work. And from a manager's standpoint, that's great. To have employers come into you and say, this is what you're doing, Mr. Manager or Ms. Manager, that's interfering with my effort to do the job that you want me to do, it's really an important thing. And so I think that through that lots of conversations, we were able to really work out things that I could do myself that would help her, and that she also got a clearer picture of what I was looking for as well. And I think for Martha, I noticed that the clearer I could be, the more specific I could be, and the more careful I could be in terms of assigning her work and making sure she's not overloaded, I mean, she just blossomed from that. And that was really good for me because I saw myself as a manager growing by being careful and by being more specific. I tend to be a very non-linear person, so, which is probably the worst thing for Martha. But we work very well together.
Thank you so much. So before I really save time, and you have lots of time to ask questions in the audience, but before I do that, sure. What I want to do is I want to give one last opportunity to all of the panelists if there's anything else you want to share about your work experience, either as the supervisor of an individual with intellectual disabilities or autism, or vice versa, the individual. I'll give you a chance to do that now, starting with you, Martha.
All I wanted to add is that the skills and the knowledge and background and so on are not what slow me down on the job as much as sensory issues, which you might be familiar with, and also something called executive function. Like Jim was saying, it really helps me if I have expectations and duties and goals laid out very clearly. But at the same time, what Killeen and Ada, and I should mention Ada is our occupational therapy assistant professor. Unfortunately, she's ill and she could not be on the panel today. That's why Killeen is here. Killeen is an intern student who's working with Ada to help me organize my workplace, organize my how I do my work, how I keep my files and so on, to cut down on the rather chaotic setup that I might be left with on my own, since with the executive function difficulties, I do struggle with that.
At my work, here's the skills I do at my work. Decision making, also application processing, kind of like people that want to get some. Then you get resume development, and also with that you have a personal job interview. If you have that state of mind, and then transportation skills, and also have being punctual, get there on time, and also have social skills with working with staff and public. I also wear my club clothing. Everybody wears basically club clothing at the club. I also follow directions as my manager tells me what to do and where to go. I always have a positive outlook at my job, at my club, and that's what I do. Thank you.
And one of the things I want to say about Derek too, Derek is very interested in bodybuilding himself, and so the club and the fitness center is one of those fits. And then I do want to give a plug for TIPSA too. And one of the things we're doing, Taft College is one of three California colleges that did get a TIPSA grant. And so what we're doing next, our next step is actually using those monies to do more intensive job training and career exploration. We have developed some partnerships, like we have a student intern, Danielle. She's working at Occidental Petroleum, and she'll talk a little bit about what her internship there is. But we're with the monies that we have there, we're able to pay these students now $13.25 an hour, and we're also able to subsidize the employer up to $6,000 per student, with the whole idea that they actually are doing the training and that we are getting certification. So, you know, a lot of us here, and you know, we're seeing this this whole new field just really expand, and given those types of opportunities and the TIPSA grants to give us those additional funds, we really are going to make much more of a difference in employment down the road.
Yeah, I just want to talk a little about the job placement aspect of this program. One of the important things is to work as a team. We worked as a team with the Department of Rehabilitation, the College of Alameda, and Marcos, and the employer to make it a success. And one of the things that's really important is to make a good job match in the beginning, and then maintain strong relationships with the employer, because that way you can find out how well the client's doing, and the employer will become more invested in their success. And we were lucky because we had the ARA funds at the time, where we were able to extend the on-the-job training for 6 months. And that gave the employer more time to train Marcos. And then also I got a progress report every month that I was able to see his strengths and weaknesses, and then go out and work with the employer on helping Marcos be a successful employee. So it's real important to form relationships. Right now the employer is looking at hiring another one of our individuals because he's so happy with Marcos.
Thank you. I work as an automotive mechanic, and there, every day there's different kinds of stuff, like different cars, different vehicles, foreign and domestics, any propulsion, any engines, and I learn every day a new stuff, new things, and new ability that I could work on it. Even if I need a little help from the owner, so I can have a success on working each and any vehicle, so the customer can leave happy. And every day, sometimes I have weaknesses, but I have to work on the weaknesses so I can get things right. And and every day. And sometimes Ramon helps me, and I help Ramon too, to do the job on any skills of each automobile. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm just interested in anything more that you could say about executive function and sensory issues.
Is this question specifically for Martha, or Martha, this question specifically for you?
Well, many people with Asperger's struggle with filtering out unneeded sensory input and being able to concentrate on what actually has to be concentrated upon at the moment. For example, if I'm sitting at my desk at work and students are walking around in the hall and phones are ringing in another office and somebody's cooking something in the kitchen and I can, you know, all these smells and sounds and so on, I don't filter them out very easily. And so my nerves get pretty jangly because I spend all my day in fight or flight mode. Because my amygdala, I won't go on too much in detail, but basically it's because our nervous systems don't filter all those things out, and they come in as a sort of threat. And so stress hormones are constantly flowing. With regard to the executive function, that is the ability to lay things out to do in an organized way, to pick up one task and stay on that task and not be distracted by sensory input, to not start 5 tasks and leave them all unfinished at the end of the day, but try and do one and finish it, then go on to the next. And then the other thing that I really struggle with is just the motivation and initiative to sit down and actually work and not sort of feel so anxious and overwhelmed that I just spin my wheels.
My question is, do you happen to know what percentage of your students that you place make enough money to, earn a living that would cover their expenses and where they would have benefits? I mean, I know that Margaret does because, you know, she's been working for a while. But that's one of my big concerns, is that people tend to be underemployed and without benefits. And it's, I think going into this, that's got to be a goal and an expectation. Thank you.
I'll take that question. We actually know that we have 89% success rate. We have over 245 graduates from the TIL program. 89% of those students are employed. 82% are competitively employed. However, your statement is absolutely correct. Most of those students are making minimum wage, or those graduates are making minimum wage, and that's the challenge that we have. And so that's why, we're moving into other areas and really trying to concentrate on more certifications to where we can get students up to a ability level and skill sets where they can make decent wages. But that is the problem right now, and especially given the economy, it compounds what we're trying to do. So there's a big challenge ahead of us. And but we think that we can, look at certifications and working with employers and corporations to try and bridge that gap. Some are, some are not. Most are not. Most, and that's the other dilemma we always run into, is most of our students have come to us on SSI and receive Medicaid, and so it's a real. I'm sorry. Some do, some do, some don't, or partial. But the whole focus is not to receive any of those, and so that's what we are striving for.
Next question here. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have some students that only want to work part-time and are happy with, where they're at. But we have a lot of students that have come through our program that are making excellent wages. We're very fortunate to work with a lot of niche contracts. We have a military base out in Dublin where these people are making upwards of $25 an hour with full benefits. And we also work with 2 other niche contractors in San Francisco and Oakland, where they work at the IRS and the Homeland Security, where they're all making excellent wages. And then we just recently had a successful PASS plan where we had someone go to work and actually purchase a car through the PASS plan, and they're off their Social Security now and getting full benefits. So we try to do our best to accommodate the individuals that want to work full-time and get benefits, but we do have some that want to work part-time and maintain their Social Security.
This question's for Marcos. Marcos?
Yes.
I am interested in how you decided to become an auto mechanic and how you ended up in that training in Texas. What happened right before that?
I was at high school that I was going to be a travel tourism, and there's a little bit of flaws about it. So instead I decided to work as an automotive mechanic because I was attending some class starting from 11th grade at high school, and then 12th grade there was a small trade center for automotive skills and any other stuff. I was there learning basic stuff, including diesel mechanics and other new stuff that is out there in the market. And then I graduated, and then I went to training center at Western Technical College. And in 15 months, same basic skills and other stuff like new technology, computers.
I was wondering, were you supported by Department of Rehab or any other kind of agencies when you went through that?
Sure.
Derek, when you were in high school, did you have a good transition plan set forth before you left?
It's a long time ago, huh?
Well, I did complete 3 years of high school. I left my junior year to go to the TIL program in Taft.
I'm just wondering how each one of you get to work.
Derek, you mentioned mobility a while ago. How do you get to work?
By University local transportation.
By public transit.
I either drive or in bad weather in the wintertime when it's dark at night when I get off, I take the bus.
How do we feel about our panelists?
The UC Davis Mind Institute was created in 1998 with a promise to find cures for neurodevelopmental disorders. Every day, our physicians and researchers come closer to fulfilling that promise. Their groundbreaking research on autism, Fragile X syndrome, chromosome 22q11.2 deletion syndrome, ADHD, and other brain disorders are helping children achieve their fullest potential. Please visit our website to find out more about current studies, upcoming events, and how you can help make a difference.